originally I did just want to make this review because of how much I enjoy these two albums. It's only just now hit me why these albums being released at the same time felt like such a great coincidence. Loona's music has always felt grounded in a sense, despite the dreamlike atmosphere surrounding so many of their releases, whereas Kep1er's music so far has taken on a certain celestial feel to it. It almost feels as if Loona's music is looking up towards the sky, wondering what the universe is really like, while Kep1er is out exploring it firsthand. It's like watching dream and reality collide. Loona's take on the sky above is different, more uplifting in a way that Kep1er's harsh reality of what the planets are really like doesn't quite portray. It's the difference between an optimistic dreamer and a realist who has first-hand experience. Both are beautiful in their own right, yet so very different. And I think that's what drew me into these albums in the first place. Both are beautiful pieces of work on their own, but together they contrast just enough to make a masterpiece only they could acquire with the other's help. Strap on your seatbelt, travelers, because today I'm taking you above the sky you see. First though, let's visit the dreams from the land below. How do those who have never seen beyond the moon envision what some see every day? How close is their perfect fantasy to the real thing? The first song on any album is simultaneously the most important and the most overlooked. It's the part of the album that brings everything together, packaging it all into one tightly knit little package that encompasses the journey you're about to embark on. It's something that most K-pop artists have taken a step farther, compiling all the elements of an album into a literal intro track. And Loona capitalizes on this perfectly. The atmospheric sound is a bit darker than the title itself, hinting ever so slightly at the other songs that this album has up for grabs, while still having the perfect segue into the title itself. The whimsical beauty that enhances this track flows into the others with seamless accuracy, allowing for a smooth transition into the album itself. It's a wonderful opening for an even more wonderful album, and it plays its role in the album perfectly. While I am so glad to finally have this bright, magical sound back on Loona, something feels a bit different from before. It's a bit more mellowed out, almost muted in a way that their old music never was. What used to be a free open space to run around in has now blurry edges, keeping you inside the dream they've created and not allowing you to roam around within their own imagination. House music is known for its interesting and often daring drops, but this song keeps them minimal, allowing for the more atmospheric side of the genre to take over. One thing they did not forget to include, however, is that bold punch in the bass line. Adding such a loud element to a song such as this can be a bit of a double-edged sword. While it does add an interesting contrast, it can also take away from the song's elegant feel. However, I think they do an amazing job here. The tones follow the girl's lead and allow their scales to be weaved between the measures, creating a zigzag effect with their notes. What could have been a drier move for this song ended up paying off extremely well and might honestly be my favorite element of the song. The song might not feature a whole lot of interesting drops in it like most summer songs do, but I think it's a great showing of the simpler side of things and just how a few simple parts can elevate a song from a boring dream into a magical fantasy. Now we start to get into some of the deeper tones of this album that the intro hinted at in the beginning. This almost sounds like a call out to a hero, someone far away drifting in the empty void, someone that they seem to think could save them from whatever catastrophe they've gotten themselves into. This might be a bit of a weird comparison, but I just can't help but imagine Pokemon when I hear this song. I truly have no explanation for myself, but it's just the right amount of intensity to put that image in my head. The magical but very powerful sound in this song helps to create that feeling of desperation that they sing about, like reaching out for something you don't even know is there, but are almost certain will come. Songs like these that almost create a narrative in the instrumental come few and far between, but this is something that Loona has always been really good at, and I'm so glad to see that they haven't lost their ability of storytelling. Pose was actually the song that they released on Queendom, so I feel as if it is a bit unfair to judge in terms of this album, as it was obviously not made with the same ideas in mind, and it was clearly meant to be more of a performance than anything. Most of the stylistic choices in the song are catered more towards the performance aspect. The big empty drop that allows for a heavy dance break, and the yelling throughout the chorus that creates this illusion of a battlefield in the song seems to be going for. I love the heaviness throughout it. The percussion in the last half adds such a great feeling to the song that is just perfect for stages like these, like an army marching into battle, high on confidence and willing to face any challenge that arises. While this song may be a bit jarring, thrown haphazardly into the middle of what is an otherwise soft album, I think it actually gives the rest of these songs the little push that they need to remain interesting. Its overall sound is a bit different, but manages to keep the album going. So all in all, I'd say it wasn't exactly a bad idea to re-release this song like this. It doesn't quite stick like a puzzle piece, but the bent ends, where it was forced into place, aren't enough to ruin the mood either. This is where we start to expand our horizons a bit. The blurry images of the dream we've been invited into are slowly opening up, allowing us to explore even more of this fairy tale at our own pace this time. This is that feeling of freedom that they allowed us to explore in the earlier tracks that was missing in this title. I live for that feeling of freedom in songs. Its open spaces allow for so much hope to fill them, and the song does just that. I absolutely love the way Jinsol sings the pre-chorus. There's so much power hidden in such a sweet line. Something about the emotional strain in her voice starts to feel less like a request and more like a demand, telling you that you have to stand up to your past self so that you can make way for your future one. Normally, I'm not the biggest fan of anti-drops, even more so when they don't really go anywhere, but there's something about this one that just opens up the song even more. It's not jarring enough to snap me out of whatever drop I was envisioning, and I don't think it was meant to be shocking in the way others are designed to be. It was chosen because it fit the song, not because they were trying to do something different. This song probably ended up being my favorite on the album. There's something so hopeful and freeing about it. Like if I close my eyes, I can imagine the wind in my hair as I run through a beautiful green field. I think that this is easily the best example of the more whimsical side of summer that they're trying to portray throughout this album. And here we go again, back to that sweet dream. What is it truly like about the clouds that block our vision? What does it really mean to be one with the stars? Visions and dreams of exploration flood this song with the desire of knowledge. It's such a sweet and simple song, but it acts as a great reminder of what their main goal still is. I love how this whole album tries to remind us of the softer side of summer. The pastels that are often overlooked because of the blinding neons that draw our attention instead. It's delicate and sadly often overlooked, but it holds a beauty in its heart that few others do. It was a great take on the sweeter side of things, and also so much fun to see them revisit this side of music that they haven't seen in a while. For however much their new sound and style is growing on me, this is always going to be the style that I'm going to remember them by. This sweet, blissful dream of the world above their own, cutting out all the harsh realities that lie within it. I think we can all agree that Up is a step up from Wa Da Da. One thing I do appreciate though is the energy in both. Both of these songs have this push and pull from verse to verse. It's like with every new line, the melody is thrown from one member to the next. Even when the song deflates a bit, the same back and forth is still present. It creates this really fun, hyper sound that fits these girls so well. It's very clear that there's a certain style and sound in mind for these girls, even if it is just a slight tweak in the direction that everyone else is going in. It makes me hopeful that this won't be their last time to hear such an amazing song from them. I'm a sucker for brass and music like this, and that funky beat just makes me love this song even more. Here, it manages to give the song a lighter feel while still being just as plainful as other songs with a darker tone. From the bridge onwards is definitely my favorite part of the song. There's so much going on, but it never feels like too much. This whole song is just the fun side of summer and will almost certainly be one of my summer anthems this year. This is one of those songs that make you want to lean back and just enjoy it. It's one of those songs that paints a picture in your head. A beautiful scene of planets dancing around the ship you view them in. Vast landscapes never before seen by the human eye, purple sky, a pink ocean. There's something so beautifully simple about songs like these. The magical production breathes life into the song, and the ambient feel to it creates a vivid picture in our heads. Just like waves crashing on sandy shores, the chorus of the song crashes into effect. Such a short, magical melody, only to fade away in less than a second with the wave that brought it in. There's just a certain charm about songs like these that pulls you in. It's slow, yet intense. Simple, yet magical all the same. I knew from the first few notes that this was likely going to end up being my favorite from this album, and the rest of the song did not disappoint. Attention takes yet another sharp turn from the previous two songs and crashes in with a bright love song. While I am not a fan of the whiplash this album has given me so far, I can appreciate a good song when I hear one. There's so much energy here, you practically have to smile when listening to a song such as this. The verses actually start out surprisingly smooth, only to erupt in a fast-paced chorus before you can fully catch up to it. In that sense, it kinda reminds me of an Everglow song. Something along the lines of Salute or Don't Ask, Don't Tell, but without that little bit of darker undertone foreshadowing Everglow's true sound. It's just a good, fun song to dance along to, and sometimes that's really all you need. It's gonna be a good night. At first, this song did just kind of feel like a rejected version of La Voyage, something that they decided was too much and also not enough at the same time, and knocked it down a few places to make room. But honestly, I think it's a lot more than that. There's something really sentimental about this song. It almost sounds like something that would play in a teen romance movie, during the compilation where they fall in love while beating within the first 15 minutes of the movie. While I could see this being the type of song to get boring very quickly, I think that there's just enough here to keep me enticed for now. Something about their sweet voices with this even sweeter sound is just enough to keep me listening until the end. Yet another ballad, but this time with a bit of a jazzy input. I've already said I love both of these elements in songs, and this one is no exception. There's really only so much to say on a song such as this. Such a chilling sound that, sadly, oftentimes doesn't get the attention it deserves. I love the smoothness of a brass instrument, and songs like these really give them character. They create such an intense feeling with just a few tight notes. I also really like the bubbly strumming effect on the guitar in the second verse. It's such a minuscule little thing, but it really does add so much to such an otherworldly song. I know it's probably ironic to say this since the song was likely originally composed on a screen, but I think there's a liveliness to songs like these that only real instruments can bring. Whether they're perfected by technology or not, there's a certain raw, unfiltered feeling to these notes that can bring a song to life, and for songs like these, they really give them something special. And that's all I have for now. Both of these albums were so beautiful in their own ways, and it was so fun to see the different sides of music that these groups picked to show. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time, travelers.